Hey guys, how is it going? I'm Remy Mayer, owner of Mike's Arthur Gym, and today I'm with Nathan Holiday, the founder of the Level Method. How is it going,
What's
Nathan?
up, guys?
So, yeah, could you please introduce yourself, Nathan, real quick?
Sure. So, I'm a gym owner. I've owned a gym since 2012. I was in the military, got out of the military, started coaching, and I started coaching in 2008. And over the course of time, I sort of evolved through the ranks of athlete to coach to gym owner. And the Level Method is essentially just a ranking system. You can imagine that it's like martial arts belts, and what we do is we guide beginners and regular gym members through fitness. And what this does, it just gives us many more handles, and it helps us plug people into fitness so that they care about these other things like accessory programs, clinics, and workshops. And my background is in program design, so that was sort of where it started, but it's really evolved now into a suite of tools for gyms who are looking to give their clients more.
Yeah. So here you were speaking about the beginners, right? I always tell my clients, if you count on elite people to grow your gym, you're not gonna grow that much. Because like elite people is like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5% of the population, but that's it, right?
Yeah, so this is a huge thing. Like the vast majority, I mean, when you look at like where CrossFit fitness has come from, it always highlighted and rewarded these top performers. So it naturally produced this environment of the highest, this pyramid, and the top people are always getting all the recognition. They're getting everything. But from a business standpoint, this is just not a good model because, again, like you said, there's only a tiny percentage of people up there. And most of the time, the highest performers, they sometimes have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They want maybe free stuff. They want free memberships. And nothing against them by any means. But when you look at a sustainable business, we're looking for the vast majority of the population, and they're totally beginners. Like, and if anybody who has been in the game long enough and you're bringing someone off the street that is sedentary, it's sometimes because we get wrapped up in our own world of fitness, and we get sort of calibrated to a population that's fairly fit. And then when we see somebody that comes in off the street, it's like, dang, like this is how normal people really are. And it's just the natural way of life. Like people sit at their desk all day, they don't do anything. So the Level Method is really like, how do we take those sorts of people, the regular sorts of people, and get them excited about getting better, about not being overwhelmed with all the stuff, and just plugging them into a system and giving coaches the ability to help progress. And, it's just a way to get regular people plugged in,
Yeah. So you help CrossFit gym owners, but not only, right? Any kind of functional training gym would be able to.
Really. So the foundational requirements is you just have to have like, functional fitness sorts of equipment, rowers, dumbbells, barbells, basic stuff. But other than that, you're open. Like there's no requirement, CrossFit or not CrossFit.
Yeah. And so with your method, can you make CrossFit a bit less intimidating?
Yeah, so this is another really big thing. Like, the vast majority of people, they have preconceived notions about what CrossFit is, what fitness is. They think they're going to come in, they're going to be doing crazy stuff. They're going to be pressured into trying muscle ups. This is like the inherent fear, like in the back of their mind. And what the Level Method does is it really shows people that, where they are so that they're doing appropriate workouts for them. Like, and we have programming, but our programming is not part of it. With the Level Method, you can kind of see where somebody is. And so they're able to do workouts. They're able to do variations of workouts that are designed for them. And then it shows them the pathway. So like, if I want to do a muscle up, I would need XYZ strength parameters before I try to do a muscle up. I need to be able to do these things. And so we can show that visually. So someone's not like, if they want to do a kipping pull-up, that's an awesome goal. But before you do a kipping pull-up, maybe we should have some pull-up strength. And so we have these safety rules built in to make sure that somebody isn't doing things before they're ready. And we're sure to, explain that to people when they come in. We have this big diagram, this big map. It's a colorful board. And when someone comes into the gym, we walk them over to that and we show them like, this is how things are different around here. You're not going to be doing things before you're ready. You know, so this is a very, very big thing because people have all sorts of preconceived notions now after like however many, 10 years CrossFit has come on the scene and people see the games and they're like, wow, that is totally not for me. And so the Level Method is trying to pull back a little bit and let people, like regular people, see that it is totally possible for them to do variations for themselves.
Yeah. I often tell my clients that if the fitness level of the client is here, they should set the programming just right below. And then it would progress like this. Because if actually the programming is right above, then they won't be able to finish the WOD, and then they will feel like shit at the end of the WOD. They will, I wasn't able to do it. But if it's right below, it's like, oh, that was challenging, but yes, I did it, right?
Exactly. It's all about success, right? Recognizing and getting people success. Like we want people to leave the gym feeling like, I can do this. Because again, like when you look at the highest level competitors, these sorts of people, these alpha driven people, they want the challenge. They're like, give me the hardest thing. I want to do this hardest thing. But we're not working with those sorts of people. We're working with regular people that they have normal day jobs. They have families. It's like, and working just a little bit below and helping them progress over time and giving them consistent wins and then rewarding them and recognizing them for all their successes. This is like the way you really build a long-term sustainable business. Results come, everything comes along with that mindset.
Yeah. So, I do CrossFit, but not all the time because I also travel the world. It's not like I have a regular CrossFit box to go to, right? So sometimes I just go to regular gyms. Sometimes I go to F45. Sometimes I just do my
mix it up
at home, whatever, right? But sometimes I go to CrossFit gyms and I will look at the whiteboard and I see, all right, handstand walks, handstand push-ups, and muscle-ups. And then I'm like, fuck, and then it's not like I'm not fit, right? I'm pretty fit. But if I see that on the whiteboard, I'm not gonna feel good about it. So at least here with your method, there is a slow progression and you're really gonna take the time to celebrate the wins, right?
Yeah, and one thing is, so the Level Method, it started as this, this map. It's the method of athletic progression. It's this big map. There's a bunch of categories. There's all these levels. And so we put this out. We're working with the gym owners, and they were really saying like, hey, we need programming that's like leveled out programming. And it's a ton of work to take one workout and then level it down. So you have so we do ranking in colors. So white, yellow, orange, blue, purple, brown, and so on. And it's just like martial arts. And so you have these beginners come in and it evolved to having these leveled workouts. So beginners now come in and they're doing workouts that are designed exactly for their level. And this is like a huge, huge win because now somebody using that example of muscle ups, handstand walks, handstands, that might be like the highest level workout. But based on my level, I might come in, I might see like, oh, the purple and the brown, the high level people are doing that version. But what's my version? What would I be doing that's going to be working and hitting a stimulus that is appropriate, that's going to be making me better, but still within the confines of my ability, right? So I'm not like thinking, and this helps coaches too. So as a coach, it's like pre-scaling almost, but it's appropriate to where somebody is. So they're never overwhelmed or thinking like this workout's going to suck because I can't do any of these movements, right?
Yeah. And actually, it's not like people need to have the barbell movements and the gymnastic movements in order to get results. They can really get results with the body weight movements, with the dumbbell and the kettlebells already, right? With small weights.
Oh, for beginner, when you look at the earliest beginners, like they shouldn't really be touching any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, like what are we trying to do? Any coach, any business owner in the gym environment, when you work with beginners, you can have them pretty much do anything. Like they can be doing jumping jacks and running and whatever, and they're going to be getting better and better and better because they're going from nothing to something. Now, after a while, you need to start doing stuff. But in those early stages, it's like, what's the psychology involved? How do we get somebody to accept that this is, first of all, possible, that where they are, like the gym that they're coming to is for them. So this is a big thing. You have a beginner come in and they're seeing all this craziness and they're like, this place isn't for me. I'm not. So like rule number one is like maybe making them feel like this place is actually for them and they belong here, and that we can show them how to get better over time. The intimidation level is low, and I can slowly, progress somebody through that, right? Because it's like, I mean, in my years of owning a gym, I can't tell you how many mistakes I've made, how many people I've brought in and like freaking giving them a hard work in the early days, when you're doing like CrossFit and like have them do a crazy workout, and then they're like, a raccoon-eyed, they're pale in the face, blue lips, and they'll like never come back, and it's like, well, I understand, because we all make mistakes, but like over time, over years and years, I've seen that number one is getting somebody success early and making sure they feel like they have a place and this place is for them and it's going to be fun and they don't have to be overwhelmed and it doesn't need to be crazy. And we can slowly plug somebody in and then get them the results that they want. We can plug into their underlying why. Why are they here? Right? Everyone wants to get fit, but why do they want to get fit? For many different reasons, right?
And so it's all about keeping them safe, all about gamifying, right?
Right.
So that we reinforce their beliefs, actually, right?
For sure. Yeah.
I don't know if you know about the success cycle from Tony Robbins. Have you ever saw that?
Yep.
It's like it starts with belief in the potential. And once they believe in the potential, then they take the necessary actions to get the result. And then those results reinforce
belief.
The belief.
Continues. Right. And that's
so
that's huge. It's so huge.
Yeah. So you gotta make it actually easy at the beginning so that they can be like, oh yeah, I believe I can do it. I believe I can get the results, the body transformation results, but also then what comes after the body transformation, the life transformations, right?
It's like, I mean, you look at, like, I work with beginners. I've worked with beginners for years. I work with higher level people too, but the beginners, there's a big challenge because a lot of times when you look at these, and I say beginners, but a beginner is a regular person on the street. They don't do anything. And they come in and most people have tried dozens of things over the years and they failed. So they try something, doesn't work for them. They try something, doesn't work for them. And so that belief system in the back of their mind, they're thinking to themselves, oh, this probably isn't going to work either. So if you can really break that pattern and help somebody see that, not everything is the same. And if you take small steps and you don't overwhelm, like you build those habits, you build one of the earliest conversations going back to like original fitness stuff is like, we're looking for mechanics. So we want to make sure that you're moving well. That's one of the most important things. And then that you're just consistent with coming and you're building the habit of building it into your life where you're coming consistently. If somebody can come consistently and they can move well, the workouts are done for them. They can see the workout version that they need to do. They don't have to do it. All they have to do is come and do their version, their coach. And it really alleviates a lot of that stress. It's still tough, of course, because people get in a group environment and sometimes they push themselves a little bit, but it's like holding them back so they can get these small wins successively over time and slowly come back to realizing that I can totally do this. And then they get those wins and it just keeps on with that cycle.
Yeah. And so we can really see with the level method, right, that there is different levels. And maybe they're going to start at the beginning with just like an air squat. But then now they believe in the potential, they can do an air squat, then they do it. It reinforces their beliefs that they can do now maybe an air squat with, I don't know, dumbbells in their hands. And then again, now they do one more cycle in that success cycle. And now maybe they will be able to be like, okay, now I can do a squat with just a barbell, empty, right? No plates on the barbell. And same again, they move through this success cycle again and again and again.
Yeah, it's like one level at a time, one little step at a time. Because in the map, there are 32 progressive steps, and
Wow.
there are 15
32.
categories. So and now this has changed originally. So version 1, we're at version 2 now for the level method. Version 1 was the first iteration, and after 3 years and 200,000 data points and all this, we found out, you know, there were hot spots of like where people were getting stuck at certain levels and stuff. So we morphed those out. So now there are more steps in those beginner phases so that someone has those progressive steps. It's like they do, okay, I can do 50 single unders, right? I got 50 single unders, and then now I can do 100 single unders. And then it's like moving up. Now I can do 1 double under, right? And it's just moving step by step by step. And so someone comes in, they get their initial levels. We keep it very easy, very like we're not trying to test somebody. We're not like, okay, we're going to freaking, it's just nice and easy. We get their original levels. And then now very steadily, they can sit down with the coach, they can do their workouts. And then when we do an assessment, another assessment, they'll level up and they'll see like, this happens all the time. People don't think they've gotten any better. I mean, anybody that owns a gym understands this. Like, you have a population of people, everybody's working out, everybody's sort of getting together. They might PR on little things, but for the most part, a lot of people feel like, am I getting better? I'm not sure, I don't know. The coaches can see that people are getting better, but the actual individuals sometimes have a hard time seeing how much better they're getting. And so when we do a testing cycle or an assessment cycle, people come into these assessments and they're like, look, I mean, I've been coming, but I don't feel like I've gotten any better. It's like, I don't feel comfortable testing almost, but I sit them down. We have a discussion like, look, just go through these assessments. I promise you're going to get better. You're going to see all the results. They do the testing, and without fail, they all level up big time. And this is so encouraging because they can see objectively, like, I have actually gotten better, which means that all of the stuff that I've been doing at the gym, all of the work that I've been doing, it's working. This is super important. It's actually working. And this is like, once somebody understands that if you're consistent with your coming to class, you know, you're watching your food for the most, you're going to lose fat, you're going to get stronger, you're going to get fitter, happens without fail. And the level method helps quantify all of those things. So I can show somebody the same way as an InBody, right? We hop somebody on an InBody machine. The first test, I'm like, well, what does this mean? I'm 20% body fat. Okay, great. This is like, the first test is kind of like, I don't really know, but then I do a plan. I do my plan. I'm eating well. I'm talking to my coach. I can't really see anything on my body yet. It's been maybe a month, and I do another InBody test and it's like 3% fat down. And I'm like, oh, and this aha moment of seeing this is actually working. The same thing happens with the level method. It's like, the level method is an InBody just for fitness, where now I can sit down, I can map out a plan, we can work on things, and someone sees these results. You know, it's very, very liberating for people, because in any normal environment without level method, like how does a beginner know how do they know they're getting better? It's really, really tough to tell, especially in the very early phases where someone's just doing an air squat, or they're just learning how to jump rope or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, one of the recommendations I have for my clients is definitely to use an InBody to keep track of the results. But then, yeah, I really like what you said. It's an InBody for fitness. It's awesome, yeah. So that you can keep track of their results, you can keep them accountable, and also it's helping you shifting their mindset, right?
Totally, it's quantifying. So imagine this scenario, you know, like you have a client and they come to you and they're like, look, I want to get better. And you're like, okay, let's sit down and let's talk about this. Like, what needs to get better? They're like, well, my strength, I feel like my cardio isn't good. I want to get better. But it's very unclear. It's difficult to really pinpoint those things from a fitness standpoint. But imagine if you had a list of 15 different scores, and these scores were like a chart, and you could see what was high and what was low. So you could see that, like, well, this person actually is pretty strong relatively, but their cardio or their breathing stuff, their aerobic endurance is lower. Or somebody has, they have a background in running, and their running is really good, their breathing is really good, but their strength is really low. Now I sit down with that person, I pull up their InBody, I pull up their levels score, all their levels, and I have two pieces of information here. One about their body fat, around all nutrition stuff, and then one about their fitness. And I can now map out an exact game plan for this person. And this is where, like, when we think about retention, or we think about helping people progress faster or plugging them in, when somebody has a game plan for themselves and they know the coach is like looking at this, they know that they're excited about having this person improve, the client is going to be much more engaged, right? They're going to be much more on the path of improving. And this is like one of the biggest retention tools. And also like the revenue generators is offering these higher valued services like, you know, accessory programs or personal training. But a lot of times, why would a beginner care about those things? You know, what's the, so the level method helps people see why those things are important. It helps them get motivated and excited about getting better. That in turn gives us as gym owners opportunities to provide higher value services. And it also simultaneously increases retention, right? So it's all sort of multi-layered. We're just creating a framework to get people to be interested and more excited about getting better within their fitness.
Yeah, because for instance, I could be a level 17 out of the 32 levels that you have. I could be at 17 everywhere, but
exactly.
I'm at like level 8 because I can't do a muscle up.
Exactly.
Now you can be like, hey, want to do like one PT session a week with me for 2 or 3 months, and then you'll get the muscle up? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I'll just sign up right away. It's easy for you to make the sale, right?
Right. That right there encapsulates. So like one of the big ones that we see, especially with females, is they want two things: strict ring dip, strict pull up. These are big time, like hard hitters, because they feel so good when they get a strict pull up. So, and it's a tougher test, right? So it's hard to build that strict pull up. So they might have all their scores up, but then they see their upper body pull, which is one of the categories, upper body pull. And it's the pull up is in there, and it progresses down the line. And then we have this strict pull up. So we have workshops, we'll do PT sessions, or we'll have somebody come, they want to get their strict pull up, we'll write out a program for them. So now they're doing, before class, maybe they're doing a little accessory work to get their strict pull up. After like a month, they hit their pull up. Not only do they hit their goal, but then they also level up. So now they're blue level, right? They're blue or purple, or they've moved up, and there's a significant win. And all the coaches in the community can get behind. We can give them, you know, all the recognition that they want. So it's really reinforced on multiple levels. And it's like pinpointing those weaknesses and we do it through goal setting sessions. This is like, or we call them results sessions or coaching calls, where I call up a client, I look at their levels, we review. So how's everything going? You feel like you're doing good? Well, I can see that your neurological and core, which is like double unders, and your upper body pull, which is like pull up, these two scores are lower. So how about we have a couple options. I can give you something for free, like just a quick little couple drills that you do before class. But if you really want to get better faster, we can do one PT session, just like you said, a week or once every 2 weeks, and we can really systematically get you up and start moving. Now, as soon as that happens, the client's like, oh, yes, this is going to get me better faster, and they're totally willing to do it. They're totally excited to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. It reminds me of the structural balance from Charles Poliquin. Mm-hmm. Have you heard of this? It feels like it's a more advanced version of the structural balance from Charles Poliquin. I think that the structural balance is like, from that guy, is like, okay, do like a front squat or a back squat. If you can do that much, if you can lift that much, therefore you will be able to deadlift that much and do that much for that movement and that much for that movement, etc., right?
Yeah.
In order to predict the
capacity or ability
for other movements, and then you test all the other exercises, and then if it's weaker, then you know actually that you're weak, that you don't have structural balance, and that you should work on your weaknesses, right?
Yeah, and the level method of that. It's similar, yeah, and we work in an energy system, so it gets the course that we have. The e-learning course is very comprehensive, and we go over how the map was developed, how everything was laid out, the energy systems behind it. And so now when somebody sees, like, we have, it gets kind of complex, but we have like aggregate scores in these different systems. So someone might be very strong. So if you've heard someone stronger than they are fit, or fitter than they are strong. Like someone might be very strong, but they're not very good at the breathing stuff or whatever. We can see on that range too. So it's like we have the movements, but then we also have system balancing. So it's like somebody who's a runner or whatever, if they want to get stronger, we can see exactly how deficient they are relative to their capacity or ability with what they're good at.
Yeah, while the structural balance from Charles Poliquin is only for like body weight. It's only for weightlifting.
Powerlifting. Yeah, powerlifting and weightlifting.
Powerlifting, weightlifting, yeah. While your system is for everything, also cardio, everything, right?
And really, like, one of the key points with the level method is that, like, we have the red elite. So the levels go from white to black the same way as Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu goes, and then there's red, which is the red elite. And the red elite are like elite level competitors. These are the people that would be going to regionals, that would be, you know, the high levels. But the level method is not designed for those people. The level method is designed for the vast majority of the population, the 99%, which is now in the white, yellow, orange, blue, these lower levels, because this is where everybody sits. So the big goal is giving people insight, coaches too, insight on exactly what we need to do to get our clients better and faster results, and do it safely, right? Because there's so much ego in the sport, in gyms all over the world. You go into a gym and you, like, as a coach, anybody who's listening, how many times have you had somebody been like, hey, we got to take it easy. You turn your back for a second and they're like trying to crank out a deadlift, or they're like trying to do something because they're buddies. They're like get together and they're doing, you know, and it's like, this is just a product of ego and not having clearly defined rules, safety rules, and understanding the why behind. It's not that I don't want you to do a kipping pull-up. It's that I don't want you to screw yourself up and now not be able to train at all for 6 months because you have a slap tear, right? It's like, I want to build that strength. So it's like really helping people see the why and educating clients too. That's like, but my point is that the level method is really designed for, you know, beginners. We're looking at the regular people and progressing those people step by step through fitness.
Yeah, so that you can change your habits. Have you ever heard that it takes 21 days to change a habit? Actually, that's true, but it's only true if it's for an easy habit. If it's like drinking a glass of water in the morning, yeah, to get that new habit, it does take 20 days only. But when it comes to working out, eating healthy, having a healthy lifestyle, actually it's a harder habit to get. And actually it takes more time. It's more like 42 days, 56 days, 60 days, right? It takes more time. And your system would support that, right?
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. Like some of the big habits, I'm a big fan of habits. I'm a big fan of rituals, like installing. I look at habits like automations that run in the background. These are like, in a business, you have systems and automations, and our subconscious mind is so powerful. And if we can install very powerful habits into our brains, into the back end, we get so much leverage. And with the level method, like we're installing these high level habits of consistently being recognized. I mean, from a gym owner perspective, we're installing all these really powerful habits that make the underlying business much more viable, much more successful.
Yeah. And also there is a stat that is, I think, super interesting, is that 59% of, consolidations occurs during the first 60 days. So it means that if we can keep them for more than 60 days, we will actually keep them for a long time. 59% of them occur during the first 60 days. So those first 60 days are so important, and we have to get them results while keeping them safe and while celebrating the wins.
Yeah, it's like that. Those early wins. It's going to be hard for somebody to keep going if they come day one, they get smashed. and they're tired. You know, they're like, I can't believe this. They're sore for 4 days. And they drag themselves in the second time, and then a boom, again, another hard hit. And people are like, look, intensity, you got to go hard. This is the way you make progress. This is the way. And it's like, okay, that person, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've had that happen to me. Where, I mean, this was years ago now, before the level method. It's like, you just don't realize that people have so much stuff. They're for them to overcome all this like fear and anxiety about doing something new. First of all, they're coming into this weird ass environment. There's all this stuff that they don't know what it is. Everyone's ripped around them. They're like feeling like not very good. If they're not supported every single way, and if it's not done nice and gradually, and if somebody doesn't get success, the people that survive are the survivors. Right? They're the ones they're the small percentage of people that are like, I made it through. And this is kind of like a lot of times what gyms are comprised of. The gyms are comprised of these sorts of people because they've made it through. But what we're trying to do is really make it so we can slowly build everybody in. They eventually get to that point, but it's done very slowly. And we get out of the 100 people that come in, we get way more of those people to stay long-term versus 10% or 20% that stay because they're just the animals. They're the ones that are going to do it regardless. They don't care, right? So it's like, how do we make that the way of doing things where we can really bridge that and get regular people to have success?
Yeah, it's all about motivating them, inspiring them, and keep in mind that maybe you have a new client that is like 37 years old, 3 kids, overweight, and didn't work out for like 15, 20 years, right? And now you bring them to your CrossFit box. It's so intimidating, right?
Yeah.
But if you can make it easy for them, they feel the wins and they get the results like progressively. That's what they want.
There's this thing you're probably familiar with it called the curse of knowledge, right? This concept of the curse of knowledge. And the curse of knowledge is that when we live in what we live in for so long, we start to not see these things that other people are going through. It's like a fish that's in water. We don't see the water. We're like, what the hell? So we're in fitness for so long and we're working out and we're doing all this stuff. And the calibration, the way that we look at things changes, and we assume that everybody knows these basics. Like, you don't know how to eat right, or like, you don't know how to squat. Like, what the hell? It doesn't even make sense to us. This is the curse of knowledge, and it happens in every industry, happens in everything. So constantly reminding ourselves and pulling ourselves back and plugging in and seeing what are the common, pain points of beginners. And you have a copywriting background. This is like step number 1, right? We got to figure out what the person is feeling, what the person is doing, what are the primary pain points. We have to talk to that. And then not only talk to that, but handhold them in a way that they feel supported the whole time, so that eventually they can then go and be free on their own, and they're able to self-support themselves, right? They can now do it on their own. But because of that curse of knowledge, sometimes it's very, very difficult because we just don't see it, and we're like hammering on people, and then they don't show up, and we're like, oh, they're just pussies. But it's the curse of knowledge, right? It happens all the time in so many different ways.
And I speak with hundreds of gym owners, and what I found is that first, they work too many hours, so they are always at the gym, always.
Oh, I know.
Their friends are at the gym. They find their wives or their husband at the gym. Like, they spend their whole life at the gym. All the environment around them is about the gym and fitness. So they're like in this bubble, and actually they don't really know how to communicate with others. So sometimes I have gym owners that are like, hey, Remy, are you a gym owner? I'm like, no, I'm not a gym owner. And that's
which
exactly
is good.
why you need me, because now I know how to communicate with other people that don't go to a gym. I know the messaging for them.
When I opened my gym, this was 2012. I was a full-time, like basically just an athlete, just totally in the zone of working out all the time, coaching. And it took many years for me to figure out business, and I didn't have any money. I lived in the back of my my gym in a van for like 3 years that I had, like a little Class B van. I would get up, go coach all day, come back, work out, come back. And it was like, this was just my entire world. I basically lived at the gym, and everything was like this. And when I first developed the first level method, it was like sort of calibrated a little bit too hard. So because again, it's that connection with what's going on. And so version 2 of level method is calibrated now more for regular people, because a lot of times we don't have that connection. And it's exactly what you said, in the gym all the time, burning out and not seeing like what regular people are struggling with.
Yeah, yeah. So if you know how to get results to this kind of beginners, clients, right? And then you know how to share that with your audience, that's the recipe to grow your gym very, very, very fast. Because those are the people that need you, and you can get them amazing body transformations. You can get them amazing life transformations, because it's not just about losing the weight and losing the fat. It's about being able to run with the kids again, or the grandkids again. It's about feeling confident, being intimate with the husband or with the wife, you know, all about that actually. If you really know how to get body and life transformations and then share that with people, with your audience, then yeah, that's the recipe.
It's so key. Like when you look at social media, you know, the original CrossFit world, you know, the skull and crossbones, like crushing workouts. A lot of gyms, you'll still see it, not so much anymore. I think people are sort of realizing, but the pictures that they put on social media are like people laid out, or people like just dying in a workout, and they're just like, but it's like, what really should be a window into this super fun, exciting, everyone having an amazing time laughing, or before and afters, incredible results.
Exactly.
Like it's these two things. So when people see like, oh, that place looks really fun, and people are getting results all the time, right? It's like, but yeah, exactly.
That's
versus
what they say all the time.
Yeah, it's like versus the alternative. And in our minds, we like, you know, when you look at coaches and athletes and these high level people, it's like, we want to be hardcore, man. We want the best. We want it, but this does not appeal to the vast majority of people.
You're only gonna attract 1-2% of your audience. Sure, be hardcore, but don't grow your gym then.
Right. You're not going to gain access to the vast majority. It's like this tiny little niche. And that tiny little niche, most of the time, all they care about is working out, which means that they're not going to have any money. They're not going to have any, this is the whole thing. We want people that have resources so that we can get them and change their lives with incredible value, but they're able to pay for this stuff, because this is going to now support our business. And it's going to allow us to do more of these things and change more people's lives. If we go after the wrong group, no matter how hard we go, it's not a sustainable business model.
Yeah. You know, I worked with a client that actually lost purpose, you know, with our CrossFit gym. She was like, I lost purpose. I want to like hire a general manager and live somewhere else.
I'm done.
I'm done. I lost purpose. And then she went through my program, and then actually we were able to attract those beginners, change their bodies, change their lives.
And you see,
and now she's like, I don't want to move to another country anymore. I connected again to my purpose. Now I see all those lives that I transformed, and now she found her purpose back again.
It's fulfilling, you know, like when you look at like what life, like why do gym owners and coaches get into fitness? Because we experience this thing, we see how awesome it is, our bodies change, we get all this capacity, and we think to ourselves, I want to do this for more people. So then we open up a gym, and then very soon we realize that it's not how we expected it to be. It's like, it's not just working out and having a good time and high-fiving. I got to work way more than I thought. And it slowly morphs and it changes what we originally wanted to do. And what we want to do is help people? Like, how do we help people, change people's lives, plug them into fitness? So every time they come in, their eyes light up, they're seeing these results, they're pumped and motivated. This will connect you to this deep why and give you fuel to keep on going. If you don't have that fuel, man, it's just a matter of time. This is why there's so many gyms that close. It's not because the business, they're focused on the wrong things, right? When you look at Tony Robbins stuff, there's the three areas, the triad focus, the focus is the primary one, the physiology and the language. But the focus, like, what are we focusing on? If all we're focusing on is like, you know, how hard it is, how many hours are working, how nobody's coming, as opposed to focusing on getting one person incredibly good results, right? Yeah. And then highlighting that person, taking pictures, making the environment really fun so people feel supported and engaged. We work on those little things, and before you know it, everything's much more successful.
Yeah, where focus goes, energy flows.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so yeah, it's all about sharing the results, sharing the fun. And also I would add a third one is people buy you, right? For the marketing aspect of things, people buy you. You have to be a cool gym owner. But if you have that, like you're a cool gym owner, you provide the fun, you provide the results, you're going to attract as many clients as you want.
Yeah, they have to know that you're real and that you care and that it's not like you're just here to make some money. You know, people hate that. they're not gonna like that.
Yeah, you're here to change their body, change their lives. You're not here to take their money. Sure, you need them to invest in themselves so that they follow through. They invest in themselves, but actually, you're not here to steal their money out of their wallets, right? You're just here to transform their lives.
It's just a trade. You know, you have these sets. You have a set of skills and an environment that's going to get them their goals, and they're willing to pay for that. And if they're willing to pay for that, our job is to deliver that, to make it fun, to make sure that they're having fun and that they're excited about getting better and that they are actually getting better. That's the job, you know?
Yeah. So I think we saw how we can keep more members, right? Because, well, now they have this system where we can keep them accountable. We can keep track of their results. I think we saw how we can distinguish, ourselves, right? Because now we have like an awesome method to get results to people. We saw how your system is delivering more value. It's also helping the gym to grow, because now you get people better results. Now the word of mouth is working even better, right?
For sure.
Now people talk a lot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the level method is like, I look at it as like a framework or a foundation that makes what we do more effective, easier. We have more clarity. But if somebody doesn't have those fundamentals in place, it's not going to magically do all these things. It's a tool, right? And like any tool, the tool must be taken out of the toolbox and used properly. Like in our experience working with gyms, the ones that have success are the ones that are motivated by the right things, right? They're very in tune with getting their members results. They want to keep them safer. They want to produce super powerful moments. They like all this. They like the idea of systems where we can systemize this stuff. So now everything happens almost automatically. These are very important concepts. And the people that don't do well with the level method, either they're highly distracted, they're focused, they can't focus, they haven't gone through business coaching, or they haven't worked with somebody like you who knows what they're doing and that can like actually help them get results. This is a big thing, right? Having a framework and an understanding of the importance of systems and mindset and all of these really fundamental things is a mandatory first step. Because without those things, the level method is just going to be it's going to be another one of those tool, like as an analogy, someone buys like an elliptical and then it's just in their house with freaking clothes draped on them and in the corner not being used. And, you know, because it needs to be actually used to see the benefits, you know?
Yeah, awesome. I see that we have Emily, Xian, George, and a few other people live today. Guys, if you have questions for Nathan, don't hesitate to type a comment and asking your questions. Anything you would like to add in the meantime, Nathan?
If anybody is interested in finding more about the Level Method, if you go to levelmethod.com, you can schedule a discovery call. Discovery call is just a very quick, like 30 minutes, get all the information on everything that you need, walk through step-by-steps how it works. Most people have a lot of questions. We do have a webinar where you can go over more in depth and see like how everything works. But scheduling that discovery call would be number one, or it would be number two after the webinar. But you get access to the webinar by scheduling that call. That would be the best way to get all of the information, because in my experience, there's a lot of questions. It's like, well, how does it work? And how do I put it in my gym? And what are the levels? And, you know, all of those things are addressed in our like sort of onboarding process.
Awesome. So yeah, I really like what you're doing. I was super excited to interview you today, because one of the first things that actually I teach with my program is make your truth pretty, because my client acquisition system is only going to amplify, magnify the truth. If you have a shitty gym and we amplify this, it's gonna hurt.
Right, exactly.
If you have a good gym though and we amplify this, well, now we're gonna really grow the gym. But the first step is to have a great gym, and your system is really helping gym owners with that.
Yeah, it's the foundation, right? Like that foundation has to be in place for sure.
Yeah. Awesome.
Cool,
Thank you so much, Nathan. I don't see any questions here. We're gonna wrap it up. Thank you so much, Nathan, for your time.
Thanks for having me.
So guys, go to thelevelmethod.com, right?
Just levelmethod.com.
Okay, to schedule a free discovery call with Nathan.
Thanks, guys.
Right.
See you.
Thanks again. Chat soon. Bye-bye.